Tēnā koutou. This is the story of how Otago Harbour was formed. In the beginning, before Raki married Papa Tuanuku, he had another wife, and from that marriage came all of the winds, the whirlwind, the big stormy winds from the south, the light breezes across the ocean, all the winds. But also from that marriage came Aoraki and his brothers. When Raki married Papa Tuanuku, Aoraki and their brothers got a canoe and decided to come from way out in space where they lived and land on the earth and meet Papa Tuanuku. The canoe landed in the ocean. They met Papa Tuanuku and they were very pleased. But as they went to leave, they made a mistake in their prayers, in their karakia, and the boat couldn't raise up again. And in fact, it started to take on water and started to lean over to one side. The brothers started to panic and they scrambled. They scrambled to the top of the canoe, to the driest piece of the canoe, and then the sun caught them and they were turned to rock. The very tallest of them was Aoraki, who's also known today as Mount Cook. Aoraki, New Zealand's tallest mountain. And on either side of him were his brothers, like a mountain range. After a while, his nephew, Tūtaraki whānau, was worried that he hadn't seen his uncles. So he grabbed his big axe called Te Hamo and he came down to earth, down to Papa Tuanuku, and he found the waka o Aoraki, the canoe of Aoraki. And he was grief-stricken. He was so sad. He had a tangi for his uncles who had been turned to stone. And then he looked at the canoe and he thought, we shouldn't let this go to waste. So he grabbed his axe and he started carving up the land, making it habitable, a place where people could live. The carved prow of the canoe became the Marlborough Sounds. The carved bow of the canoe became the Fiordland Sounds. He hacked out all the little bays and valleys, and then he left protectors, guardians in each of the places. He carved all of the peninsulas along the east coast of the South Island. That's Banks Peninsula. He carved Moiraki Peninsula. He carved Huriawa Peninsula at Karitani, and he carved here, the Otago Peninsula. To protect Otago Peninsula, he left two atua guardians known as Roko Nui a Tau and Kahukura. Today, Kahukura can still be seen in the sky as a rainbow, and he protects people when they travel on journeys. Many hours of work left the South Island a beautiful place. The most beautiful of all was the Milford Sound. One of the aunties believed that it was so beautiful that if anybody went to visit Milford Sound, they would never move again. So she went and saw Tūtaraki whānau and gave him a present that she left at Milford Sound to make sure nobody would stay there for too long. She left the sandfly. Many years later, the Otago Harbour was still yet to be peopled by mankind when a huge taniwha called Matamata dived into the water and carved it out to make it the long harbour that it is today, and it filled up with water. And then Matamata climbed out and dived into the plains on the other side of the mountains, known as the Tairi Plains. And he dug out all of the rivers and made all the squiggles that you can see when you land at the airport out there. And then he climbed up the ridge, and he too was caught by the sun and turned to stone, becoming Saddle Hill, which is known as Puke Makamaka and Turi Makamaka. Many years after that, Matamata came back to life again and became the protector of the Kati Māmoe chief, Te Raki Tauneki.